It's Friday, August 5th, 2022, and this is Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast, with a big emphasis on mostly this week. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we review the latest Marvel happenings across all media, as well as other superpowered stories that caught our attention. And when I say we, I'm referring to the special collection of nerds joining me this evening. First up, my co-host with an aversion to reading actual comics, it's Ricky.
It's me. I'm back.
Yes, you're back. You're back. You weren't here last week to talk about like the 3 episodes of Harley Quinn, but I think our guest, Brian April, did a great job holding it down.
Yes. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you again, Brian. I think he might be available in the future for more of that kind of discussion, so we might have to rely on him again. But yeah, glad you're back.
Yeah, dude, I did like the exact opposite you want to do after Comic-Con is work for 9 days straight.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So
that's pretty bad. Yeah, I was kind of bummed because like we were going to talk about all the Comic-Con stuff, and I felt bad because I was just there with a guest that didn't go to Comic-Con, and I was like, Ricky left me high and dry. Okay.
I had a COVID scare this week, and by day 5 of working, I was like, it would be so bad if I got it right now, just so I can get off of work for a few days.
I don't want people recorded saying that crap. Get out of here with that.
All right,
they'll be saying that. Okay, I'm glad you're healthy, so that you can.
Everyone's healthy in my household,
so that you can endure the pain that is going to be delivered to you for the rest of the evening. And 2 of the people that will be probably helping deliver it are our special guests this week. I'm just gonna bring both of them out because like I don't have any like cool fancy things I want to say other than we're talking about Sandman tonight, and these are the 2 biggest Sandman fans I know. So we're just gonna bring out Travis and Lindsay as soon as Ricky does it. Welcome.
Hello.
What up?
Welcome our Sandman.
I know Travis has been always angry because I never allow him to talk with Lindsay on the show.
Right.
So I was like, he's always waving at her while she's helping me set up in the background, and he's like, let me.
Yeah, I can never hear what you're saying. It's so sad.
Yeah, he's just talking shit. That's all.
I was at your wedding. I mean, come on.
Sounds like Travis.
Well, I'm glad you guys both get to be here. Lindsay's got the full-on Sandman background behind her.
Yeah, you're in the tomb.
Yeah, wait, I'm trying to figure out how to point to him.
Basement.
Yeah, there he is.
No
clothes on for 70 years.
You guys, I know, and you're allowed to judge me, but however much you judge me, feel free to judge Ricky more. But like for all the times I've ever heard, Sandman praised, it took me until this week to finally read it. But I did read it. I read the first volume of it. And I was so thoroughly pleased though, because for 2 reasons. 1, because I loved it. 2, because I knew in my heart that when that came out, my brain was not ready for that. It was not. And I'm really excited for later today to talk with Ricky because Ricky's a Sandman virgin even more than I am because
I'm familiar with the Sandman. I just don't I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. And so but like just to be clear for our audiences out there, like we will be talking about both the Sandman and Harley Quinn season 3 episode 4. Just to be clear, we'll do Harley Quinn first since that one came out like yesterday.
Yes.
And Sandman was a little rougher for people who are joining us live on Friday night because it literally dropped at midnight this morning. So, we forgive you if you didn't have time to catch up between work and coming to join us here. But if you're not live, you're in for a treat because we're going to talk about both of those things.
Isn't there Marvel on your podcast today?
Or yeah. The rule is it's called the Mostly Marvel Podcast, and that the reason is because most of the time that's all there is to talk about, because most of the time the news is just freaking Marvel. But it's a pretty DC heavy week this week, and so we actually, as much as the name might imply, I'm not as biased as it sounds. I do love me some DC. I grew up in the days where Stan Lee politely referred to them as the distinguished competition. And that's what I always refer to them as. And I love DC because they always pushed Marvel to be better and vice versa. And so, like, I always really loved the rivalry that they had, especially in the 80s and 90s. And it's kind of sucked to see, since they've become so corporate, owned and run, that, like, you really don't get to see that anymore. You don't get to see the rivalry as much, right? Like, I think nowadays the rivalry is just created by the fans. Like, but it used to actually be printed in the pages, like in their soapbox. They would actually have fun poking fun at each other and stuff, and it doesn't exist anymore. But I love it.
One-sided right now.
I just think it's funny. Like, just Marvel is about as corporate as you can get. It really is. It doesn't smell like it to like everyone else, But
no, but I'm saying the way it was run in the 80s,
like DC feels like an office full of cubicles, and Marvel has like an open floor plan.
In the 80s,
I think it's the opposite, actually.
Yeah, in the 80s,
that's my understanding.
If anything, in the 80s,
Marvel's like a little more like buttoned down. And like
I think in the 80s, it was very much DC was the stronger of the two.
If you not to cut you off, but I'm cutting you off. I mean, just look at DC Comics as a whole, and look at Marvel Comics as a whole, right? I'm sorry, dude. Like, Marvel's like one note compared to DC in that way, and you will never be able to convince me otherwise. So I don't see how you can take a one note place and turn it into some free flowing, like, creative oasis compared to a place that does everything from Vertigo to Milestone to
If we're including Vertigo and Milestone, for sure, like, absolutely, like,
well, Sandman's on the night, right? I mean,
that's
Vertigo.
Okay. Well, I mean, they've folded the Vertigo the Vertigo title, and now they're reprinting Sandman under the DC Black label. That's what they're doing nowadays. But in any case, I would never argue that the breadth of variety that is there in DC is it's more accessible to a lot of different readers, at least back then. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays, I think.
I mean, is it a stretch to say that Superman's the most iconic character in the world? Like, his logo and everything, most recognizable.
It is a very Western. It's a very Western thing to say, because a lot of Asia prefers Spider-Man.
I would say it's debatable. I would say if you were to ask someone inside of Warner Brothers, they would tell you pound for pound that bat symbol rules them all.
I think actually Ronald McDonald is the most recognizable character in the world.
yeah, Ronald McDonald.
She's probably right. Yeah,
and he is for the kids.
I remember reading a study about that, actually.
And then Mickey Mouse.
I think it's very debatable, because, like, I have read a statistic before many years ago that Spider-Man action figures outsell all other superhero action figures combined 8-1 around the world. And it's because Spider-Man is so much more marketable because you can't see his face. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, and that's why we have, Japanese Supaida Man. That guy's not even Peter Parker. Like, but Stan Lee signed off on that show.
Cool costume.
And it's ridiculous and it's awesome. But yeah, that's why, it's just an accessibility thing, right? Like, Superman looks a very specific way. Batman looks a very specific way. That, yes, from a Western perspective, it's easy to say those are the most iconic superheroes ever. But I think from a non-Western perspective, there's a really strong argument to be made for Spider-Man. But in any case, I'm not here to argue with you. I like DC also, and that's why we're going to talk about DC. But we are going to talk about some other stuff too tonight. We're going to have some news to discuss. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it is DC news as well, which may or may not be great. And we also have a quick round of trivia to play. I won't exactly call it Marvel trivia this week because I kind of mixed it. I catered the trivia to the spotlight discussions. And then, for those of you joining us live, don't be shy. We'll be checking the comments regularly, and particularly during trivia. I always mean to let people know in advance, but I know last week there was some delays coming in from like the people putting in the comments and versus when we saw them. So I'm just putting it out there early. If you have an answer for the trivia, feel free to chime in as soon as you see it, as soon as you have it. And then, if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/DenXmedia, where you'll find a variety of creative offerings, including recent episodes of our live after show, The Soapbox. Patrons get exclusive access to chat with us. But if that's not your thing, don't worry. We'll be releasing it to the public next week. I think you guys planning to join us for The Soapbox tonight for a little while? Oh, Travis is muted. Lindsay's muted, but they got thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Hey, we're gonna share photos of our experience at the Comic-Con Museum this week, because I don't think we want to do that for this. Why would we talk about the Spider-Man exhibit during the Mostly Marvel podcast? It'd be weird. It'd be weird. This is a DC show tonight.
Keep it focused,
it's
please.
DC. Yeah. DC. Yeah. We're gonna do this. All that stuff's out of the way. I guess I just want to ask you guys, since you're here and before we get into all the other stuff, aside from Harley Quinn and Sandman, and don't make this weird like with work stuff, Ricky. Like I promise one day you're gonna get this question right. What else have you been nerding out on this week?
Well, let's take the last 2 weeks. I think I told you about it, the Nope thing. So have any of you guys been to the Alamo Drafthouse? Are you familiar with that movie theater chain?
I'm familiar with it. Yes.
They hosted a Nope screening at Sunset Ranch in Hollywood. It's like a horse ranch right by the Hollywood sign. And it was super fun. It was like a cool little party beforehand, all with a bunch of horses. I was very surprised how many horses there were with a bar next to me. Like there was no fence to horse. It was me, horse, and that's it. So like it was not a good mix. But
sorry, that's funny.
We're watching the movie too, and the horses, you're like in the horse pen with the horses. So it was kind
probably pooping through the entire movie.
I inhaled a ton of shit.
Absolutely.
For sure. But that kind of made like the barbecue taste a little better.
Nice.
But
did they seem to enjoy the movie? Were the horses into it?
They definitely were reacting to the horse sounds of the movie.
Were the horses into the movie?
They were straight up watching it.
I need to know.
And last thing we didn't notice with the horses is, did you know like they scratch their back like a dog? They literally roll over. Mm-hmm. So after the horses got done with like their little tours they were doing, they all took off their saddles, and like literally like 20 horses start rolling around on their back, and that's a pretty scary thing to see. That's a big animal.
Why is it scary?
Because they are really big animal.
It's a big animal, and there's no
dangerous.
I think what it is that if you haven't grown up around like nature and just animals, period, right? They always don't seem to be that big on TV, but when you are face to face with like nature, it's like, wow, that's
I have a friend who used to ride, so I was around horses a lot growing up, and they're actually pretty scary. They're big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Since Ricky was so kind as to answer the question before our guests, how about our guests? I was just preempting everybody to avoid, but thank you for avoiding the work answer. Travis, what have you been learning out on this week?
I've been anticipating this week for a minute, just because you've got Sandman coming out, so I've been sort of, going back and sort of flipping through the old comics, like my omnibuses and things of that nature. That's cool. But the other thing I've been sort of anticipating that I'm sort of saving it is that Prey movie. Let me tell you something.
Believe me, I wanted to watch it today, but I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be present for your Sandman conversation.
Can our soapbox just be us watching Prey?
So for me, like for real, like I really love Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I really love Predator, right? And every other Predator offering has been just crappy crap.
I like Predator too, man.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was okay.
I like
Danny Glover. That's a good
There was
one.
enough callbacks, and it was okay. But
and
after
you got a lot more.
Rap.
You got a lot more like like Predator lore in that one too.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
With the pirate gun and everything. Yeah.
So my whole point is that for the recent, like I don't know, the last decade or so, we just had nothing but crap Predator offerings, and this is the first one that's gotten really good reviews, and I'm kind of
95
scared.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
I know, dude. I'm scared and I'm excited all at the same time.
So you know what's funny? I told you how this week is the first time I've ever read Sandman. Before I started reading Sandman, I would have told you the thing I was most excited about this week was Prey. But then, like, after I read the first issue, I was like, well, this is good. I'm going to keep reading and see how far I get before we start watching the show. And yeah, as of last night, I was like, Lindsay, I don't know when we're going to watch Prey because we got to finish Sandman first. So I think I'm going to watch Prey on Sunday, maybe Saturday.
Getting bumped? Oh my gosh.
Prey got bumped, dude. But like, don't get me wrong. I freaking love Amber Midthunder from Legion. And she's the main actress in Prey. And I really do believe in the Predator IP. I do. I just think they had a lot of tumbles, a lot of slips and falls. But like the IP is so solid that like all it needs is one movie to get it back up and running. That's all it needs. That's it. And so if this is the one, way to go. Proud of them.
And also shout out to Bullet Train that I will see this weekend as well. It's Brad Pitt in something that looks like a Guy Ritchie, film on steroids. I'm with it. So that's gonna get me to the theaters.
I'll watch that one on TV. Yeah, I think I would rather see Nope in theaters before I see Bullet Train.
No, I did that already. Yeah,
I haven't seen Nope. Did you and Ricky like it? What was the?
I like Nope. I like Nope a lot.
I did like Nope. Okay. But unfortunately, it's one of those. It's one of those movies where you have to think, and that's going to turn people off.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. Lindsay, I mean, your answers are gonna match pretty much with mine, but what have you been nerding out on?
So many things. Here, I'll take them all, so then you just have nothing to share. Cool. Yeah. So we did the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race this week. So that was really super fun to watch.
All stars, all winners.
Yes, congratulations! Spoilers! Jinx won soon.
I've never seen that show.
What? You've never seen that show?
They all won.
It's deeply
literally one of the best things ever. Like I don't understand.
It's really good. It's all like watching artists and cool culture.
14 seasons in, it's still amazing. It's still amazing.
I've like dipped in and out of RuPaul, and I like what I watch when it's there.
Yeah, it's great.
What do they win though? I'm always lost on what do they win.
A shit ton of money.
Money.
$200,000 now.
They don't get a show or anything, or like do they get?
They get $200,000, dude.
Yeah, they get a ton of money, and then they get put on like tours. They get booked out like crazy. So it's like definitely the exposure. Yeah,
there's a Vegas show.
In addition to like doing stuff for RuPaul, it's a lot of exposure. So that was really fun. And then we've also been watching that new show, Reservation Dogs. Really good.
Is that on my recommendation?
How is it?
Oh, it's great.
It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, it's also executive produced by Taika Waititi.
Okay.
And so if you like Atlanta and you like The Bear, it's like somewhere in that same
Workaholics mixed with Atlanta mixed with The Bear.
It's a little I would say it's like
good.
Yeah, it's more Atlanta-y.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen something like recently on FX that I hate. Like everything FX puts out, man, is just so good.
I just saw a commercial.
I
Which
highly
was
recommend.
funny.
I highly recommend The Bear. But
I
like
finished The Bear.
but the Reservation Dogs is a lot like Atlanta in that like some episodes are really funny, and then some episodes are really like, oh, I feel bad now. I feel sad. Like, and so that's how Atlanta is, right? Like sometimes Atlanta goes for the introspective, like, how are you gonna feel after you learn about this? Like
Right.
that's Reservation Dogs, but for the Native Americans living in Oklahoma. It's their little clique, their community.
Reservation life.
Yeah, it's cool,
Indigenous
dude.
life.
It's a really cool show.
You get some
Highly
good
recommend
poppins too in that show.
What was that, Ricky?
I figured I was going to watch it. Just I didn't know when.
Apparently
the commercial for it, just drew me in because the dude's like standing there in the semi-mystic stance talking about this is how our people are, and he's like, word? And then he's like, nah, I just made that up or something like that. Oh my God, I need to see that.
The first episode's probably more funny than a lot of the other ones, but like they're not always trying to be funny, and that's what's cool about it, and they focus on different characters, different episodes. So sometimes you're not even like Atlanta. Sometimes you're not even focusing on the main characters at all. They're not even in the episode and stuff. And so, and it's really cool to see like every Native American actor ever is showing up to be on that show. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
So when you just see them and you're like, yeah, man, this means something to be on this show. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's true representation. It's really cool, man.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what else, Lindsay? I know there's another one you want to talk about.
Oh, I was just gonna say fan art. I've just been doing a ton of fan art for the last couple weeks, just like constantly.
You
like the
missed
34 variety, or like just fan art?
What? Oh, wait, what, Ricky?
The 34 variety, or just fan art?
No, not the 34. just fan art.
Oh,
you go then, Dennis. That's yours. Whatever one I missed.
We finished F-Boy Island this week.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's season 2.
Dude, yeah.
I don't know that I like geek out on F-Boy Island, but I do
I
like
do.
suck it in.
All right.
And
See,
suck it into my
soul. It's the Nikki Glaser of it all. That's what I'm there for. This
is really brave of you. Okay.
It is.
So can I be allowed to be brave?
Yeah.
So I got a Crunchyroll, right?
Okay.
Just recently, because I'm just like, I just need some more like, anime in my life. I've gotten to the end of like whatever's on Hulu, and
they have Crunchyroll on HBOMAX also.
Yeah. I don't think it's the whole thing though.
No. It's a section of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I stumbled on what's possibly like the worst anime, but also like it just appeals to me on this fundamental level that which is Kaijo, that hip thrust girl or whatever. Have you seen this show?
Whoa, no, I have not. Tell me all about it.
It is battling. There's like women in bikinis and they're battling each other by attacking with their with TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it is surprisingly no, but they take it to the limit. Where you're
Great.
like,
I love it.
This isn't.
I'm a big like Food Wars fan, so like that whole
what is the show
genre
actually
is fine
called?
with me.
Keijo, like Keijo or something like that.
Okay, Keijo.
Ricky's
All right.
looking that up.
Yeah.
I hear the keyboard typing.
It looks like Sandman just got bumped for the weekend.
I feel weird looking at this. I can't share my screen.
Do not share.
It's called Hip
Do not share.
Hip Girl
Keijo. Hip
Girl
Keijo. We'll be checking this out.
I saw some pillows of this at Comic-Con for sure.
And I'm like, I'm feeling this on even the video game level. I'm like, I want to play this.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
And then
sharing.
those
See,
who like mixed body type or male body type, Food Wars or Yuri on Ice would be your alternates, I'd say.
Oh, word. Okay. All right. Okay.
oh, Food Wars. Food Wars is hilarious, dude. Food
Oh,
Wars
yeah?
is pretty good. Also, they draw amazing food in that
Men
show.
and ladies.
Yeah.
Oh,
All are featured.
It's a if you've never seen Food Wars, and I know we will get to the rest of the show soon, but Food Wars is about this guy that is so good at cooking. When he cooks, anybody who eats his food starts coming. They just start
Yo.
coming.
Their clothes
And
come
then
off.
and the depiction of it is their clothes burst off of them and they just
Ah,
orgasm
Oh.
great.
like fully while they're eating his food. It is
Mhm.
hilarious.
What's this called?
It's called Food Wars.
It's kind of like
It's on HBO. It's on HBOMAX. Shokugeki no
It's
Soma.
probably a little bit more
yeah,
on
it's
the
like a
mech side.
ninja competition show thing with all the
Yeah.
clothes off
Yeah.
frequently.
It's hilarious. But
This
yeah,
guy isn't like on some like watch list or something like that because his clothes is just snatching motherfuckers like.
Well, they
clothes off?
all the good chefs in this world do this, so it's not just him.
it's like a
Wait,
metaphor. So like when they're done
What
eating,
rape
they're still,
culture?
no, they're still clothed when they're done eating, but like it turns into like this anime like
What defines a meal?
for the
to you?
viewer.
Like
For
if
the
you
viewer,
make a
the clothes
PB
are
and J
ripped off.
sandwich, does that still qualify for the food come?
well, it's like he wouldn't
If it's
just
good
make
enough,
a PB
sure.
and J sandwich. He would make it some way that's never been made before.
See,
and
I want to
that's
know
what
like
makes
the
it
rule break, like what sequence of ingredients does he put together to that
Basically,
constitutes
they'll
that
explain
power?
it.
Yeah, he would tell you.
Basically,
He
I
tells-
think what
yeah.
You can recreate the things on Food Wars.
Yeah.
They're usually
No,
that
and that's what I'm
detailed.
saying. And they draw legit food.
Like
it
if I
looks
do a hot
good.
pocket, does that count?
Yeah, I don't.
He
think
would
you-
totally
I
make
think-
something like a
You say you watch-
deconstructed hot pocket, which is like amazing. 'Cause that's his whole
Yeah.
thing is like the low class.
And then all of a
food.
sudden you'll be like ass out but full. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like the
Okay.
bear
With
is like
combo
that, but
stuff
without
or
the
broccoli and
orgasms.
cheese
Okay.
like coming out.
Nice.
Yeah, the bear just gets depressing when that
The
happens.
bear gets depressing, whereas
It does.
Food Wars just gets like, whoa.
The bear
I
is
shouldn't be watching this with
accurate,
my
though.
mom right now.
Food Wars is not
Like-
so accurate.
All right. I think that was enough of this whole whatever this was. I loved it. It was great. But I think Ricky's got some news prepared for us. and
Yeah,
we got a whole other show.
some
to
news,
do.
yeah. All right,
Let's
let's get into it. So, Lindsay, you just got done
Yes.
watching RuPaul.
Uh-huh.
We got some RuPaul up in this show. Shea Coulee, as Dennis told me to pronounce, she's joining Marvel's Ironheart series.
Just so
Yes.
you know, she doesn't come to play. She comes to slay.
It's like,
From Trusted Source Deadline, that's all I got for that one. She's
Do you have
gonna
any
be in the
guesses
show.
on what character she would play, Dennis?
I have
Do
don't
you follow Ironheart?
I have not read
Or
Ironheart
Travis?
ever.
I have no idea, but you know, whatever it is, it's gonna be fierce. Apparently, I mean,
Mhm.
look at
Is
Homegirl. You know what I
Ironheart
mean?
newer than Miss Marvel?
Yeah, in the comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironheart's Ironheart's on the
Yes.
very new side of comics
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
And
Shea Coulee's a good actor, I feel like. So
Shea Coulee's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Like that is an amazing entertainer, and so I'm really happy to see her do like whatever she's gonna do on Marvel. Like, I mean, Marvel's definitely, you know, like I know there's a lot of people that are upset about it for gross reasons, but like Marvel's trying to make up for the past 12 years of lack of diversity, you know, by going all in on this, and like I've loved it. I've been here for Hawkeye, or not Hawkeye. I meant
She's the one white guy.
Unfortunately,
I meant Moon Knight. Well, even Hawkeye has Echo. Echo's in Hawkeye. You know what I mean? That was pretty
That's
cool.
true.
Moon
I
Knight.
just mean
and-
Hawkeye. Period. He just needs to get out of here. You know?
And he was deaf representation too, by the way. That was pretty
Yep.
cool. Yeah, but no, like Moon Knight and Miss Marvel and like so many, like She-Hulk, so many of the things they're doing right now. I'm like, I'm here for it. So let's keep it going. Let's see where we can go.
Yes.
Let's
yes,
see how
please.
crazy we can get this.
Don't be
Yeah,
gross.
like I was saying,
Support.
I've never watched an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. I guess I should.
You really should.
Because it comes
It's going
highly
to be
recommended.
research for the next show.
You know what I'm saying? So why not?
Yeah, I will say the one thing about that show, like it's weird, like she didn't start winning Emmys until the last, like the back half, which is weird. So like, but it's kind of true. Somehow the show kept getting better and better and better. And I think it's when when it really got better is the Trump years. When I
Why
think
is that?
I think it got more fierce. Like the subject matter, like what they were putting out there into the world was directly combating a lot of the negativity that we were seeing in media all the time. And so I think that's what started getting them more and more riled up and motivated to use that platform to say something. And so the first episode, the first season, like if you go and watch it, it's fun, it's catty, it's weird, but like the most recent seasons are just so much better than it was when it started. So I'm telling you that, saying if you do decide to go watch the first season on Hulu, it's weird. They use a weird filter because they're afraid of how the makeup will look, so it's all really blurry and stuff. And I think they found their footing around like season 3 is when it started getting. Would you agree, Lindsay?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think too, just like with any show, as you're going deeper in, you find more of a format that works. And then also just like the culture was gaining power as like this was continuing. And I think it had a snowballing effect where people were just more open. They really focused on showcasing talent more than the drama. So
yeah, exactly. The drama is what it felt very old.
There's always
VH1.
drama.
When
It
did
felt very
RuPaul
VH1 back in the day. Yeah. What?
When did RuPaul debut? Like the show?
The show, like 14
it's
years
been
ago,
around a
15
while.
years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Older
so
than
the weird
MCU?
part. What? More than they're older than the MCU, Ricky. RuPaul's or RuPaul.
I'm trying to loop
is
it back
much,
in.
No. All right, we'll get off the RuPaul horse for now. We can revisit that later. But I will spend hours trying to sell you on that show. It is it is the ultimate like real life superhero show, man. It's so cool.
All right.
But
well, fictional superhero show just got pushed back a day.
It got pushed back for good reasons, though.
It's for Andor. That's kind of the reason.
She-Hulk. Yeah, they've decided. Disney Plus has decided to no longer cannibalize like their two biggest IPs by putting them up against each other. So from now on anytime the Star Wars show and a Marvel show air in the same week, they will stagger them by a day. So She-Hulk's will be Thursdays when they premiere. So August 18th now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it is. Yeah.
I hope when they move it to Thursday, they spend some more time rendering out those scenes.
Oh.
You've seen the have you seen the difference? I know that's a very common complaint, but like, did you ever see when they pointed people to the Disney Plus version of the trailer? Like, it's a lot better. Like, it's a lot better looking if you watch it on Disney Plus. Yeah, so it had to do with like the format of what was getting put up on YouTube. But yeah, we always knew they were going to take time to get it.
I don't know. I think
they're working up until the last minute
that they're happy with internally that looks a certain way.
Yeah.
And, I don't think it needs to look like Thanos every.
I believe it's going to look really good. I think it is. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I will be really sad because, like, honestly, I don't say it enough, but like She-Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters. I used to have the big old statue that would follow me around in my offices and work. I have a She-Hulk statue. I actually have two. And I do not have a Spider-Man statue. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah.
Did you like the Andor
trailer? Says a lot.
It does say a lot. Yeah.
Mm. Did I say come again, Ricky?
The Andor trailer? I saw you had some comments on it.
Yeah. Look. I feel like I feel like I'm in a complicated relationship with Star Wars. I can't quit it. And it never seems to actually bring me joy as much as it used to.
The
and
first half of Obi-Wan did, though.
Yes.
Yeah, and they just keep messing themselves up like all the time, and I it just got to the point where I was just like, maybe I aged out of Star Wars, which is tragic, you know. And then I thought about that, right? I thought about that, and I got pretty in my feelings about it because I was thinking to myself, I don't see myself aging out of Marvel, right? And damn it, that's not the same demographic, right? So what up, right? And so when I saw this Andor trailer, it was like that Star Wars Old Bay seasoning. You know what I'm saying? It was just like
you caught a whiff.
Taste it. You could just you know when you smell Old Bay and you be like, oh shit, it's on. Like like seafood, it's on, right? And that's how I feel like is that Andor captured that A New Hope vibe that was sort of modernized in Rogue One. And like, hey man, the rebellion are damn near terrorists.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's that like? And I remember seeing Andor shoot that cat in Rogue One, and I'm thinking, yo, this is the rebellion for real. Like, they're trying to snuff cats, right? Like, and so for me, that's the vibe I got, and my body is ready for Andor.
Your body's been ready for a lot of things so far that have not treated your body well.
That is very true.
Yes.
That is very
true. I actually haven't bothered to watch the trailer because I'm at that point where I'm like, I will just watch the product and judge it for what it is then, because I'm tired of these trailers trying to make me feel something. Hey, by the way, how many times did they use that Duel of the Fates song in the Obi-Wan show? That song that got Ricky super hyped for the show. Oh yeah,
zero. But they brought back John Williams to do a new one.
Zero.
You don't bring them back to just rehash.
I'm just saying, like, that it's dirty tricks they play with those trailers, and that's why I don't subscribe to those trailers anymore.
All I'm saying is to say, if you would sniff that trailer, it would smell like a
New good Hope. To me.
All right. Yeah, I mean, they all feel good to Ricky, though.
No, it smells like A New Hope, though.
We'll
the whiff, the oh dear.
We'll see. Well, let's move it back into to Ricky's news.
Yeah, this movie smells kind of bad. Thor: Love and Thunder is officially the worst rated MCU movie, beating Thor: The Dark World by 1%, sitting at 64%.
That's gotta be like a bot. Or like
it could be. I thought it was a little relevant.
Yeah, somebody did like a bad review train on that movie because like people are pretty mad about it. Actually,
objectively, Thor: The Dark World is one of the worst things that the MCU has ever put out.
Yeah.
So like, to even come close to being rated at that, or even be lower than that, that's just stupid. And I'm so tired of the ignorance behind all the people that get angry at things and that have politicized the word woke and turned woke into something that means something negative. Like there's nothing bad about being woke. Woke is good for us. We need to get the medicine served to us more because people have this weird idea of what this world actually looks like versus, what reality is. And so like, I love Thor: Love and Thunder because of all of the representation, because of all the weird romantic comediness of it, because the fact that like he's in a romantic relationship with his hammer. Like, if you don't love that, you just I don't get it, man. I don't get why people like to take Thor seriously is such a weird thing to do. To plant that flag now you've decided to take him seriously when after 12 years of him being the joke. Like, it's so weird to me. So
it is weird.
I don't know.
Well, that's what I have to say about those ratings.
Look at that.
Get out of here with those. Move on.
All right.
Next
For
story.
It's the same people who like got the
People are
Snyder Cut to
gross. Next
exist.
story. Don't
Yeah,
discuss
same bots.
things.
People are gross.
People are gross.
Variety or Warner Brothers kind of a little gross right now.
I don't know.
I didn't have a good spin for that one. Yeah, dude. Where do we begin? Yeah, there's a lot of business happening.
Shoes on.
So let's see. How do I sum it up? Discovery's buying HBO, right?
Well, they already bought them a while ago.
They already bought them,
and
so
as
they're part of that interaction. They're kind of going through the inventory, the portfolio to see what's worth keeping, what's worth axing, and the kind of biggest marquee thing that they decided to axe was the Batgirl film. That is not finished, but it's been shot. So
Scoob.
The
Scoob sequel. I really like that Scoob movie, by the way. It was good. It was really good.
The Blue Falcon.
I've never liked Scooby-Doo.
Will Forte as Shaggy will change your mind.
Never liked Scooby-Doo. And the only thing I hate more than Scooby-Doo is Scrappy-Doo.
See, what's crazy to me is by the way, that's fine. You're fine. It's fine to hate Scrappy-Doo. But what's crazy to me is like Scooby-Doo brings together two of the greatest things in this world, which is dogs and weed. Like how do you hate Scooby-Doo?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, because the answer is a crazy white dude in every episode. Okay, it's a crazy white dude.
A lot of white costumes, white hood costumes.
You know what I'm saying? Why are you running? You know it's a crazy white dude. Just tackle his ass and rip the damn thing up. Like it's always a crazy white dude mad at kids. What I'm saying? I ain't got time for that. Not only that,
they always like let him hang out too for like ever to like yell at the kids.
Did you ever like the Blue Falcon?
Dynamite.
Okay, fine. We're moving on. Let's go back to this DZ thing.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the extent of the news. So Batgirl was the first to get cold, and then the newer reports are saying a lot more is potentially on the chopping block.
Yeah, like so. What's
Supergirl, and then they're also looking at their HBOMAX portfolio, which is including potentially Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol, and Titans.
The Flash
got canceled, which I don't think.
I'm okay with Titans.
Wait, Flashpoint has been canceled?
No, sorry. The Flash, the TV show. It's their last season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was probably already decided before. That was, that wouldn't necessarily. Like they always planned, they had he's gone like 8 seasons or 9 seasons. That's plenty. That poor guy.
It is. It really is.
That poor man. And I can't stand all the videos I see on TikTok that keep showing the increasingly bad CG that show gets every season. Like it's horrible. Like I feel bad for him. Let him go. Let Grant Gustin go and have a career outside of that franchise. But yeah, Doom Patrol, Harley, and Titans. They have Harley's. I mean, we're going to talk about Harley tonight. It's episode 4, and they're already potentially getting the axe. Doom Patrol, its next season hasn't even started airing, and same with Titans, and they're already potentially getting canceled. So, that's rough. I've also heard rumors that it's possible they might even consider just folding HBO Max and rolling it into a bigger Discovery app. Is that really?
Yeah, they're gonna 2023. They're gonna fold it in.
Oh man, that's rough.
Why is that rough?
That's a bad idea.
Why?
Just isn't HBO Max like one of the top subscribed streaming services?
It is the top.
Well, why?
Yeah, they're gonna lose a ton of subscribers just like trying to move them over to another platform.
Why?
Because people don't like paying for stuff, and they don't like signing up for stuff. So you're gonna have a conversion issue. I'm just talking about pure UX businessy stuff.
Money.
Trying to move people from one thing to another thing usually is a huge drop off.
Yep.
If they save enough money, worth it, great. But I don't know.
I think it's probably gonna net out at around 10 to 12. It's gonna be, whatever that is, at $10 to $12 or some sweet spot there. I don't think there's gonna be that big of a jump or drop off at all. I think all of the industry is moving to this sort of monetized. I mean, it's funny how things went from TV broadcast to cable to and then now
it's just
streaming
a big circle.
It's back to where we started.
And there's so many like options out there. It's super confusing for people. Yeah, I mean, like, searched this area for like years professionally, so it's nuts.
Yeah, all that to say, they've got a lot of content. And I appreciate what's going on here, which is to say, let's get rid of the nonsense, right? Let's what?
But do we know that Batgirl was nonsense?
Yes.
Do we know that Supergirl was nonsense?
Yes.
I don't think that's been raised.
Yes.
Definitely nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, like, I understand axing some of these like niche things again from a business perspective. I'm just saying I don't know about taking one of the top subscribed things and trying to get people to move to like a very low subscribed thing when there's so many options.
Think about it for a second.
I'm sad that Doom Patrol's leaving, but I'm sure it didn't have that many people watching it. And then also, like, what is the business model they're going for? Are they just trying to get butts and seats, going for hours in advertising? Or are they trying to get subscribers? Like, I don't know what their goal is, but it's a bummer that Doom Patrol is canceled because I like the show.
What do you think moves the needle more in a streaming service? A Batgirl movie or Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives?
Probably Diners, Drive-In. Well, what is move the needle? Is it people actually purchasing the subscription because of that content? Exactly that. Or is moving the needle getting people to watch more hours? Because it depends on what your business model is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a false comparison, and the reason why I say that, it's sort of like, I remember, when we worked at PlayStation, for example, like the God of War team would make all this money, right? And they'd be like, "Oh, we're badass. See, we did this," While the baseball team, on the other hand, made a certain amount of money every year, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you added them up, they were pretty much the same, right?
Baseball's consistent,
right? And so what's going on here is that that Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives or whatever, that's straight cash all the time. That keeps the lights on, and then you have these events that are these movies and so on and so forth. So it's not one-to-one in that way. But as a streaming service, you have to have both of those things.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And so that's what Discovery is doing, and it makes sense to me. Now, as far as this Batgirl film is concerned, the reason is that you see the crap that comes out. You do, right? How crappy do you have to be in order to get canceled? You have to be really crappy to get canceled. And there is nothing. Having worked at Warner Brothers, trust me when I say this, every department in that company is concerned with making money. Every single department, even the employee store, right, was making money. Understand me? Like, you could go to Fry's and buy a movie cheaper than you could at the employee store. Okay? So when you take that into consideration, that corporate culture inside of Warner Brothers, where everybody is dead set to make money, think about how monumentally bad something has to be for them to universally go, nah. That's a lot, because you can do a lot with content, right? And they said basically the cost of us actually finishing this movie, marketing this movie, okay, is going to put us more in the red than just killing it right now.
Yeah,
well, killing it. I'm sure they paid off Keaton. I'm sure they if that wasn't the case, there'd be a lawsuit already. Like, I'm sure everyone whose money was tied into this has already been paid. The check's been cleared.
Bad. That has to be bad.
And Doom Patrol and Supergirl and Harley Quinn and Titans.
No. Those are different. Those are, I don't think you paint with the same brush. But look,
Doom Patrol or Property Brothers.
Well, they're really expensive. Like everything you just mentioned, they're super expensive to produce. But totally
By the way,
agree
the
with
correct
everything
answer
Travis
is Titans.
saying, but I
Yes,
do want
we can
to have
cancel
like
Titans.
time to talk about Sandman today.
I
just
know.
to
Let's
bring it up.
I promise we're gonna talk like 10 minutes about Harley Quinn, and then we're the rest of the time.
Okay.
That's cool. Let's keep it going. Ricky brought news. What do you?
We have we're wrapping it up with some
That's a slide from last week. What are you doing?
Don't look at that.
One toy news. I'll cover this one really quick. I actually worked these guys into the trivia last week for Brian. Two of the Life Foundation symbiotes were revealed at Comic-Con a few weeks ago, and they didn't say what they would be coming in, and they finally revealed this week. This is the one Amazon exclusive box set for the year. They do one every year. This time it's Venom. You get Eddie Brock on a new body. It's that body that they used last year for the animated one. They've repainted him to be for comic style. And then they got Riot and Agony. So anybody who's ever been into the Life Foundation, there you go. Go get this thing. It's only on Amazon. It comes out in November. And then I included a few pictures just to see them up close. But that's all I got for toys. I think the Venom head looks really good. That head looks awesome. That looks cool. And then there's Agony and Riot, which is just on an old giant monster Venom body. But I mean, he looks like he does in the comic, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a blue Venom.
It's a blue Venom. There you go. That's it. And then that's all I got for that one. Can we do a trivia really quick before we do the other thing?
I think we can.
It'll be fun. All right. So anybody who's not been under a rock for the last 50 minutes knows that we are going to be talking about Sandman today. So I decided to do some little research. I did spoil some things for myself, but I wanted, for the sake of you, for your entertainment, I wanted to come up with a game that just acknowledged how many goddamn people are named Sandman in comic books. It's a lot, guys. This is just 6. There are more, but these are the 6 we're going to be playing with. And so what we're going to do is I made a little trivia where it's going to be which Sandman blank, and I'm going to show you some Sandman, and you get a multiple choice, and you get to choose. And I'll let all 3 of you work together, or you can each come up with your own answers. I know Ricky likes to go rogue and just go separate from everybody. Nope. So whatever you want, but here we go. You ready to play?
Okay,
let's do it.
Yes.
Which Sandman was created first? You got A, Garrett Sanford, B, William Baker, or C, Wesley Dodds?
I'm going to go with C. I'm going to go with C.
Yeah, I think it's a fake out.
And the only reason why I say that is because that whole design is a little bit more pulpy.
Well, Wesley Dodds, I think, shows up in the Sandman series, doesn't he? And he's like mentioned as like the first Sandman or something. I think it's been a while since I read the books, but
C.
Ricky, for the future ones, let's let Ricky answer first because he totally jumped on your guys' coattails. He did. You could tell he did. And you guys are right. 1939.
It was a fake out.
There you go.
I don't think it was a fake out. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's the art style because it's like a modern rendering of an old character.
I mean, that's like a 2020 like art of Marvel Sandman. So I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know how it's a fake out. All right, moving on. Which Sandman has also served as Dr. Fate? You got A, Daniel Hall, B, Hector Hall, or C, Morpheus?
It's either B or C, right?
It's
you got 3 options and you just chose 2 of them.
I don't know if Hector Hall did or not. I can't remember, but yeah, it's not A or C, so B.
A or C is definitely from Sandman, like the.
They're all from Sandman.
Okay.
All of them are.
They all are from Sandman.
Yeah.
Okay, this show's gonna get weird.
I think it's B.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with B.
B.
And Ricky riding on the coattails. Look there.
I said B or C.
Look at that helmet. So shiny.
Which Sandman was co-created by Jack Kirby? A, Garrett Sanford, B, William Baker, or C, Wesley Dodds?
B.
Is it B? Like I feel like B's the
I'm
obvious.
gonna
right?
go with A. I'm gonna go with A.
I think it's B.
Dennis would do a fake out. It's probably gonna be A.
Oh, it's A.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
Travis.
Garrett Sanford. You guys, after going to the
Winner.
Comic-Con Spider-Man Museum exhibit, you should know that William Baker Sandman was created by Steve Ditko.
Ooh,
As
yeah. See, I was like,
all classic Spider villains were.
hmm.
All right, here we go. You guys keeping score? I think
I thought we were a team.
Travis is winning.
I think
We
Travis
were,
is winning
we were
right
a
now.
team.
Travis is winning. Yeah, he's separated from you guys. He's pulling ahead now. Here you go. Which Sandman is the grandson of both Hawkman and Wonder Woman? A. Daniel Hall, B. Hector Hall, or C. Garrett Sanford?
Wait, are B and C the same dude?
No, they are not. That's why they have different names.
Well, not like the same. They have the same costume on, though, right?
Yeah, you know how like Batman has been different people have dressed up as Batman.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I put their names there, Ricky.
Okay.
I'm gonna say C.
Yeah, maybe C.
Yeah, C.
It's B or C, but
Oh, this is awkward for you guys.
Oh,
It's A. Daniel Hall. In canon, Daniel Hall's grandparents are Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman.
what?
They are his grandparents. Because Hector Hall, who is his father, his parents are the Hawk people, and he falls in love with the daughter of Steve Trevor and Diana Prince.
Oh, there you go.
And there you go. So Daniel Hall, the future Sandman, is
Daniel Hall the dude in the show?
no,
Mm-mm.
he is
Okay.
not yet.
I don't
Not yet.
spoil it.
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's not spoil.
Yeah, we're not spoiling.
Are you
but
telling me Superman's showing up in this show?
I'm not telling you things.
Okay.
I'm just showing you the truth. Which Sandman has been written by Neil Gaiman? A. Wesley Dodds, B. Hector Hall, or C. Morpheus?
Okay.
Technically,
Now.
all of them. Technically,
Yeah. See, yeah. I feel like this is Dennis being sneaky, and so I'm gonna say yes.
Technically, all of them.
That's exactly.
Depending on how you define has been written by.
Uh-huh. Yep. So screw you, Dennis. Yes is the answer, and that's my final answer.
You guys are correct.
See.
All three Sandman have appeared
I am so confused.
in the Sandman. But with that said, Ricky, are you now more interested to finish the show?
I'll probably just look up a spoiler, to be honest.
All right. Well,
Daniel,
if that wasn't
that question killed me. I'm so sad.
what question killed you?
Daniel, why?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. With that said, we're gonna detour off. Let's talk about Harley Quinn for a few minutes, and then we'll switch over to Sandman, which is what we all want to do. Let's do it. Thank you
I
for
like
playing
Harley
that game,
too,
by the way. Was
just
that
to
fun?
Be clear.
What's that?
I like Harley too, just to be clear.
No,
I
do. I know, but like I know I brought you guys because you're my Sandman people, but you also had the homework of watching Harley Quinn episode 4, which was titled "A Thief, a Mole, an Orgy." And the episode, by the way, spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't watched it. If you haven't, please turn away and come back when you have. You'll thank us later. But for those who did watch it, as a recap, the summary of this one was: when Frank goes missing, Harley and Ivy follow clues that lead them to a highly unconventional party alongside Gotham's elite, including Commissioner Gordon, who is hungry for campaign donations. That's actually a pretty succinct description of the episode. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the impact of this episode was completely robbed of it because of the boys. Like,
Yeah.
Because of the eyes wide shut /
I wasn't really, I
aspects.
wasn't really allowed to enjoy the giant orgy that happened in this episode of
They
Harley
censored
Quinn.
it. Cowards.
They did censor it too, right? And that felt weird because Amazon did not.
Too many giant sex parties lately.
Amazon had a guy yelling, "Throwing ropes," and then
I'm in a strange place with Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And what I mean is like I feel like it's the truest simulation of like you getting drunk and playing with your toys. You know what I'm saying? That every kid, like us at least, has done at one point in their life, right? Where you had these stupid conversations that were factually and canonically correct, but just ridiculous. And it's your toys talking to one another. And no show that I have ever watched captures that quite like this show. And so to that, I give props to the writers because they capture that very well. And I always feel like I'm on the inside, joking with the creators about all of this stuff because I never thought like DC would have the balls to like say and do half of the things on the show. So,
but you know what's funny about that is all the things that the writers like end up revealing DC did stop them from doing. You know what I mean? Like what was it last season? They drew the line at revealing that Batman was a generous lover, right? Like that was like, and then like the writing team never fails to like get this out into the world. Like you have to know this is where they drew the line. And so like, I don't know. I feel like there is a line that sometimes I can tell is there. And I'm like, why did you like, why did you censor the boobies and stuff? You know, like what was the,
it's really hard. It's really hard to figure out, it's funny because then it's like when you and I worked together at PlayStation and we were doing Pain, understand like every time we were doing a new character or something else, it was on the heels of us being told that we were not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
And so I get it. I get that struggle, like, on a subatomic level. Right. And so when I see it in other forms, it always makes me feel happy and vindicated to some degree because I feel like my struggle wasn't as personal as I thought it was.
Yeah, I think also like kind of the sucky thing too about like what networks will allow is just the fact that they're showing like a lesbian relationship as like the centerpiece. They're already going to be like at a certain like gauge. And so they're not going to be able to put as much stuff in there because they're already like halfway filled, and they chose that, and now they have to live with it, and that's
so weird. That it is a bummer because like you go and watch Doom Patrol, and there's just ghosts screwing in the background on almost every episode.
But we're more okay with that than like a loving lesbian relationship from like a ratings perspective.
That's a bummer.
And from an advertiser perspective, it's a huge bummer. But it is something to keep in mind. Like why why are they pulling back this season? They chose to go with a certain way. They chose to like showcase this relationship and the characters and representation, and
it's probably the ads. Like I honestly think that's it now. Like there's an ad version of HBOMAX now.
Oh, there's an ad version.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can think of why things would be different this go around versus the last two seasons.
I get it. I see. I wasn't aware.
They also might be like just trying to give that relationship a little space to breathe too, like depending on what they're trying to go for with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, like I love the relationship. I'm fine with everything about it going forward. And I have seen like stuff that, the writers have no intention of ever breaking those two up because they work so hard to get them together and they love them and they never want her to go back to a toxic relationship like the Joker, which I'm all for. I like. Cool. Awesome. What I think is missing though is a little bit of the funny that was in the previous seasons. And I can't help but think it's because the team dynamic is different because you don't have the misogynist asshole of Dr. Psycho anymore. And man, that guy made everything awkward and therefore funny. And all they have now is they're surrounded by a supporting group of friends, which is cool. I love Clayface. I love King Shark. I love Frank the Plant. But those three ship Harley and Poison Ivy hard, right?
That's true.
So like,
that's true.
You don't have anybody tearing them down. and that's what's
Your
missing for the comedy. The misogyny was great, man. Come on, that was next level misogyny from Dr. Psycho. Like, everything works in comedy if you know how to do it right. And Dr. Psycho was just beautiful. Like
he was the Mr. Roper.
Yes, he was the Mr. Roper. We're too old.
For you younger people, that's a Three's Company's joke.
He was the Mr. Roper, and they don't have that. And I keep waiting to see if Bane is going to be the new Mr. Roper, because they're definitely trying to work Bane up.
He's kind of giving those vibes a little bit.
Yeah,
I like Bane.
Every time he is on screen, he kills.
Yeah,
every time. He destroys it with his pasta maker.
Yes,
I'm not sick of the pasta maker yet.
I just love how that's the new default Bane voice.
I know.
Tom Hardy.
But
it's so funny.
Yeah, I do think the other thing, like to what you're saying, Travis, about them playing with toys and like how this show is really that. I think I've been waiting for them to play with toys in the exaggerated way that they did in the first season, which is kill off Batman's villains. Like, I still can't believe the Penguin died like the way he died in the first season of the show.
Who's off the board? Penguin, Sandman, and Mr. Freeze, right? In this show?
There's no Sandman.
Sorry, Sandman. Scarecrow.
Villain. Scarecrow got murdered. Mr. Freeze is dead, I think, right? Yeah.
But how many seasons you gonna go on though? You can't kill off everyone.
Well, apparently not many, according to Discovery.
Good enough, right?
Yeah.
We might be seeing like more wild craziness pretty soon, though, right? Because the next part of the episode is like, I was gonna turn everyone to plants.
Yeah.
Like I think they might have just been trying to like again give the relationship a little space to breathe, like show that it's not completely perfect, but like overall a healthy one.
I think I just really
they're
want
probably
the world,
gonna get a little wild.
I want the world to get taken over by plants soon, so I can see how violent that gets. I need to see. I think I just really miss the gratuitousness of the violence and the sex. And I know they tried with that sex in like it was a full-on orgy. I do appreciate that they really do hate the Court of Owls. I just don't. That story just like it's always bug me. So it was really funny to see it like just turned into a straight up rip off of Eyes Wide Shut. Like that was entertaining for me. And I love how like Jim Gordon is completely clueless and is going around like trying to get like raise funds without realizing he's at an orgy for the whole episode. Like everything they do with Jim Gordon, I'm all on board with. He is the best, worst version of Jim Gordon ever. Like the fact that Two-Face is his campaign manager still after four episodes. Okay, yeah, you are not the Jim Gordon I grew up reading, and I'm okay with that. And it's like so. Yeah, I think I'm just waiting for more of the ridiculousness from some of the other characters. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like what Clayface or King Shark are doing is really that far out of the realm of what they do normally, anyways. So
I would just love to like be a fly on the wall for those writing rooms.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to know all the ideas that get shot down. Like that's what I want to know, because like I feel like we're getting the toned down version of that, and it feels weird. It feels weird because like just like coming off of, I know animation takes so much longer than live action, so I know that like they planned that orgy probably way before the boys ever like got to filming theirs. But like I'm sorry, the boys wins for best orgy this year. Like that's just if that's a category, they win.
The boys win on several levels.
For sure. They do.
Yeah.
But I guess if there's anything else you guys want to talk specifically about, I could ask you guys about the different characters, like which one's your favorite this season.
I'm just enjoying the ride, honestly. It's I think that Harley Quinn, at least for me, is a one show I can watch and literally turn my brain off and have a great time with, right? And I appreciate that in its place in my entertainment, sort of repertoire, right?
Yeah.
Where I can just say, like, this is a show I won't take too seriously. I know that all of the people in this show who write the show and everything else are in on the joke. We're all geeks, okay? And the nuances of some of these jokes and situations, because I'm a geek, just make them even more enjoyable. And I can just enjoy the fact that I live in a world that gives me that sort of media.
Yeah. It's like the McRib. It comes back every year. I like it when it's here. It's only for a limited time. I enjoy it every time I take a bite, and then it's gone.
I've never had a McRib in my life. Never. Never.
Missing out.
Here, I'll do it this way, since and I don't mean to make it melodramatic or anything like that, but given the news of the week, suppose this is the last season of Harley Quinn, and obviously we know that if it is, that sucks because all of those episodes are already written and animated and everything. So whatever happens. I hope it ends in a very satisfying way. That we could be like, okay, if that's the last season, I'm good with that. But I'm just gonna name some characters, and you guys just shoot off like the first thing you think you would like to see resolved for them by the end of this season. And you can take turns, whatever. So I'll go. Travis, what do you want to see? What's your wish list for Nightwing?
Just respect.
Just respect.
Some monochrome.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right. Lindsay, Kite Man.
Ooh, Kite Man.
Oh man.
I want to see him win the big supervillain chili cook-off, and I want him to have the giant hat and an apron that says "Kiss the Cook." And I want
feel
him to
like
get
this
a
is
ton
very
of accolades.
This is very likely to happen.
She's talking about this a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I want for him.
Where's the fan art? Where's the fan art?
I don't have one of Kite Man winning the chili cook-off, but maybe now I'll make it.
Ricky, what do you want to see for Batman?
Oh, I don't know. We kind of got that scene last episode that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was.
That was a big they did it
With the foot fetish?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I want for Batman out of this show. It's kind of crazy. Batman's not, I would say, my top 3 favorite characters in the show. The Batman
he doesn't
universe.
really have much of an arc. He just kind of shows up and is Batman.
Yeah, well, I'm picking the peripherals first, but I'm working.
I want to see Bat Dong. Show me Bat Dong. It was a controversy 2 years ago. Bring it back.
All right, on the first round, I think Lindsay wins for most likely to actually happen.
Woo-woo.
Versus Robin or Bat.
I'll take
no onions, no meat.
Yeah. All right, Travis. What about Clayface?
If he could win an Oscar, that would complete his art in such a way that I think he might die.
As himself, or as Billy Bob?
It don't even matter.
He needs to La La Land win
it. Yeah, but then he dies tragically before, maybe he has to get it posthumously or something like that. That would be awesome.
That's pretty good. That's good.
That's good.
Ricky, what do you want to see happen for King Shark?
Oh, I don't want anything to happen to him. I love Ron Funches as King Shark. I just want him to be there as the status quo. Keep him there. Whatever you got to do. I want his arc to end back into season 4 of Harley Quinn.
He's still married, by the way. He's married. Do you want to see anything?
Yeah, I was trying to remember if he was married in this show or not.
Yeah, his wife. His wife was
so many
2
versions of
episodes
King
ago.
Shark. I couldn't remember.
His wife was in the 2nd episode of the season, I think.
Nice.
Lindsay, what do you want to see for Catwoman?
Ooh, Catwoman. I mean, she's kind of living her best life already. Maybe she turns her mansion into a really amazing Airbnb. And she gets to host all the top supervillains there or something. Yeah.
Her acceptance speech at the Villies was amazing.
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's pretty good. She's set.
Okay. Travis, Frank the Plant.
I want to see like a plant orgy.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that's happening next.
Because and the reason why I say that,
Bunch of bees.
the reason why I say that is because it'd be hilarious. It's like I don't even know how you would animate that, right? But because he's being voiced by JB Smooth, right, and he always has that line when he says, "Hey, when I comes, I brings the ruckus." You see what I'm saying? And I would love to see the plant ruckus.
Yes.
Ricky, Bane. What do you want from Bane?
Oh, I just want him to like self-love for Bane. I think he's gonna get like on his own little self-help journey.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe take off the mask. Maybe take off the mask and just be.
Ooh, I don't think the mask comes off.
No.
I don't know.
He's in therapy, so he's already on that journey.
Yeah, that's true. He was eating the sandwich. You took it halfway off.
If he like took that mask off and he was like an Adonis underneath that would be like such
so beautiful.
just like boom,
Lindsay,
like that episode of SpongeBob with like Squidward.
Yeah,
like the chin.
You know?
Lindsay,
like the
Joker. What do you want for the Joker, Lindsay?
I want the Joker to like just realize that he's a huge asshole and like apologize to all the women he's always messing up. I don't think just glomming onto someone else's family is enough of a redemption for him. So yeah, I mean it's kind of more of a serious answer, but
That's fair. Travis, what do you want to see for Poison Ivy?
I would love to see her choke the Joker out, plant style.
Yeah.
Plant style.
You know what I'm saying?
Make him apologize. Force it.
Yeah. Like
get on your knees.
Like honestly, like it's
Vines
sort of like
everywhere.
your new partner whooping the ass of your old abusive partner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's always like the, because the thing about it is, it's like, look, I don't know whether or not this says a lot about me or the state of the world or whatever, but it seems like every time you get in a relationship, okay, you have to pay for the sins of that last jerk. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, those people get damaged, they have their baggage or whatever, and so you almost have to be an apologist always for the person who came before you. And when that person before you is a right ass, right? Like there's nothing better than just fantasizing about choking somebody out. You know what I'm saying? So Ivy, like choking the Joker out. Yeah. That's what I like to see.
That's pretty good. I like that one. Lindsay, Harley Quinn.
I mean, I want kind of Harley to do the same as Bane, I guess, like just some self-love, self-actualization. I'm happy for her and Ivy. But she still seems a little insecure, so hopefully improve on that. Yeah.
All right, and then last one, Ricky, Batgirl.
I wanted to like either cut ties with Gordon or fix Gordon. One of the two will happen. I'll be happy with either. Cause he kind of treats her like shit, like in that show.
Yeah, he does. He's kind of an absentee father in that show, isn't he?
So
I will say, like, not this episode, but like the previous episode reminded me of this. Like, the Joker starting the award show with the Killing Joke was like so good. I was dying. Good.
That was messed up. It was like
also their dresses were incredible. Just saying.
Yeah. All right.
I want Harley back in that dress at the end. I changed my answer. I just want her walking around in that dress.
Nice. I think that was plenty of speculation for what could come. I'm glad you guys are liking it. I like it too. I just I definitely feel like it's missing a little bit of the punch, and so I hope to see that punch come around. We still got like another 6 episodes to go before it's over.
Missing the sauce.
It's missing something in the sauce, but I hope. I think it's Dr. Psycho is the piece of the sauce that's missing, but
I don't think you're wrong.
But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
see. I totally agree with you, but I'm willing to like give it until the plant orgy episode, which I think is coming up.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
I don't I don't think I knew how much I loved Dr. Psycho until he wasn't there. And then
no, he's great.
Yeah,
he was amazing.
I knew
we
I
need
loved
the foil,
him.
dude.
Dennis had the same opinions on House of Cards final season.
I never watched the last few seasons. Once I found out about Casey, I stopped watching that show.
Let's move on.
I think let's move on to the thing that that everybody is dying to talk about, especially Ricky. Let's do it. Let's do Sandman.
Yes, Gwendolyn Christie looked so good at the top there. She looked amazing.
So here we are. We're in Sandman. We're in severe spoiler territory. It's gonna be weird though, because like the requirement for everybody for tonight, the homework for tonight was to just watch the first episode. Whatever else you do is extra credit. I know that Ricky is the only person among us that did that and only that. But I also know that Ricky doesn't care about spoilers. So full disclosure, I think Travis, Lindsay, and I have all watched the first 6 out of 11 episodes of the show.
Let me remind you, the show came out at midnight.
Yeah, we're aware.
I am not the crazy one here.
You are the crazy one usually.
No, you're totally not. And like, I'm actually like all for just like taking your time with stuff and absorbing it.
Yeah. So for me specifically,
I think I watched a lot of episodes.
Yeah. So by the way, anybody watching, we're gonna spoil up to at least half. I mean, Lindsay and Travis have read the entirety of the Sandman story. It does have an ending. It ends at issue 75, and then there are some spin-off comics and stuff. But so they know where this is ultimately gonna go. So they may spoil even further than what is available on Netflix, just through predictions and stuff. But I'm really happy to have both of you guys here, because I want more than anything to talk about like how you feel about what you've seen so far. So I would let Lindsay go first.
Ooh. I feel really good. Like, I don't know. This was a really formative series for me, honestly. Like, it was one of the first comics that I read and like got really into, because I kind of had a non-comic phase growing up. So it means a lot to me. And I've been really happy with what I've seen so far. Like, it's very close to the original series, and I don't think that always needs to be the case. Like, I'm not one of those people who think that a series needs to be exactly the way the comic book was, but in this case, it is for the most part, except for like a couple of little things that they're adjusting, moving around to make the story flow for the TV format. And I think it's working for it. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying all the casting choices. Everyone's amazing. I think everything looks really good. All the dream sequences look really good. And I'm just like happy they didn't ruin it. That sounds really bad, but like I really love the Death Note anime and the Death Note comic series, the manga, and I just think Netflix like destroyed that property. So I was going into it scared.
But Willem Dafoe was good as hell in Death Note.
You know that's getting an actual series on Netflix. Death Note
with Willem Dafoe.
They're just making a Netflix series. Like, it's getting a show as well. I don't know if it's tied to the movie.
Death Note. He's talking. He's responding to
yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Travis? How are you feeling about it so far?
Well, Sandman came out just when I started. I was a year into my professional career, and I was making pen and paper RPGs, vampire and werewolf, and during that White Wolf sort of formative stages. Neil's work was highly influential in a lot of ways, in mood and setting. I can't even tell you how like influential that was, because it was like validation, because I felt like we were doing a lot of things in that image. We were doing a lot of things that sort of tonally were the same. Whenever you jump media, you hope that that scent, that flavor, that vibe translates. And I don't think that that Sandman would have been possible until now. Like to give it the grandeur that it needed, to from an effects standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, like streaming just allows the long form to like really dig in. And so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that they've been able to take, these 75 issues of, I think, is literature. It's not just a comic book. It's not just a graphic novel. It's literature. I really think so. And to see it just manifest itself, like, to me, it's just so affirming that certain things make that transition well. And I can't tell you, like, yeah, I'm on just finished episode 6, and I can't wait to be done with this so I can get back into that world.
and then eventually pray.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like moving to the TV format too has actually added some additional layers for me, just in terms of like some of the immediate emotional impact of some aspects of the Sandman story. Like I found myself getting more of like a body feeling for some of the scenes that I remember getting when I read the comic for the first time, but it kind of had to sit with me for a little bit. Like and spoilers, but like Cain and Abel, their whole relationship, like it's really painful to read in the comic, but it felt more viscerally painful to me, and just seeing that destruction like on screen a little. And maybe it's because I do know the history of those characters, and then also since we just finished episode 6, like walking with death through her day. Her job,
her day at work.
Like I had tears, like watching that whole thing. So I just think like
having that sweet, right?
With the music,
it was sweet. Yeah, it was really sweet.
It was straight up touching. Like it was like
the music added so much to everything.
Yeah, too. Man. And I was just like, like there's so many ways that you could have played that, right? And they went with sweet. And I think that was so in the pocket, right? That I just felt like, damn, you cats really know what you're doing here. You're hitting things in just the right way. And it's funny, like watching that with my partner, and she's asking me questions, and she always asks me questions like in the moment, right? And I'm like, just hang on, just hang on. It'll sort itself. Like if you don't understand at the end of the episode, then we'll talk, and it does, and the episode sort of explains, like contextually what's going on. And to me, you have to understand, like, when I was younger, there was a science fiction fantasy author that I used to read a lot, Piers Anthony. And if you're into like mainstream, fantasy, like Piers Anthony is like one of the more mainstreamy of, and he wrote this series called The Incarnations of Immortality. And the first book in The Incarnations of Immortality was Death Rides a Pale Horse. And it was about, the character, Death, and how Death went around and did his thing, but Death would meet like Mother Nature, and Death would meet all these other people, and it was like this concept that I thought that was just so cool, that an aspect of reality would be sort of personified, and like what that would look like, what that would feel like. And so when Sandman happens, and that's exactly what you get. And finally, and this is the last thing. I'm sorry, I'm going on. Sandman in the comic, his word bubbles are black with like with like white writing, and it's the opposite of what you see in comics. And I always wondered what that sounded like. Now I don't have to wonder anymore.
He sounds emo.
Yep. Looks like a sprinkle of Batman.
He sounds like I expected him to hear in my head. So.
He really does, actually. He really does.
Yeah. When did emo start? In the 90s?
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, he sounded like
Sandman
obviously
was like a response to that movement.
Yeah. I just started, like I said earlier in the show, I really wanted to have more knowledge, and I wanted to have like a little bit of a baseline going into it before we did this, because like, Lindsay's always told me how good it is. Travis always speaks highly of it, but like, it's just one of those things I never got around to, because like, I think there was a vibe to it that just felt like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. And so I finally just said, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go all in, read the first issue and see how I feel. And, I loved it because it was so unorthodox. The way, there's this character called the Sandman, and he's barely the star of the first issue of the story. And there's so many stories going on, right? But like, I was able to follow them all. I could tell what was happening really early, like in the first few pages. So I actually went back and reread some of the names of the first pages, because it's like, wait, I feel like he's giving me a lot of names, and I'm going to keep them stored in my brain and then see if that pays off. And then, 40 pages later, I'm like, that was really cool. And now we're ready for the real story. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like the first issue is a prologue, and much like that, I was quite impressed with how literal the first issue was adapted into the first episode of this show, with a few extra things to make it a little more clear that the focus is on Dream. So they start him off with the narration. They start him off with like a few scenes of, knowing there's a villain, that was not in the first issue, in the Corinthian. But for the most part, it's a literal translation. And I'm curious, Ricky, since you've never read Sandman, and that was your only episode, and that was the only episode you got, what was that to you? What did you just watch?
I get a very like Back of Spencer's vibe from like the Sandman. I was given a bootleg copy of Sandman at like in high school on a flash drive, and I opened it up, and it looked too complex for me. It wasn't the colors, the boom bam pow, the splashy comic books that I rarely read. So I threw away that flash drive and never saw it again. And my following years going to Comic Cons, I always saw the Sandman. I saw the mask logo thing. It's just always there, but never intrigued to pick it back up or take a look at it. So when I had to watch the show for our show, I liked it. It's a little out there. Usually fantasy stuff like that's not my cup of tea, but I don't hate it. So
that's good.
It's a lot. It's a lot in that first episode. It doesn't feel like a lot, but like there's a lot on the table right now that I'm interested to see how it goes, especially after the first half of this show, where apparently there's bigger ties to other stuff, which I don't think will pay off in this show, but I could be wrong.
So
that first episode felt really fast for me, so I was so curious like how it landed for you. Like, it felt really fast. So it's good that it made sense at least.
So let me clarify some things really quick for Ricky, and I think going forward. So when Neil Gaiman was writing the Sandman, because I read an interview with him the other day about some of the changes he made, from some of the obvious changes he made from the comic to the show. The comic, for the first 8 issues, Sandman meets John Constantine. He actually also visits Miracle Man / Scott Free, and sees a dream of him escaping Granny Goodness and Darkseid's apocalypse. He also visits. He tries to go visit. Or they were going to go visit Batman, but they realized it was 3 a.m. and Batman was working. So instead, they go visit Martian Manhunter, so they can find out where the ruby is. And then later in the story, or in he fights a famous Justice League villain named Dr. Destiny. You're not going to see any of those things except with the Constantine thing. Like, so
Yeah,
Constantine
they announced that in the panel. It's
yeah,
Joanna,
so
right?
Constantine's Joanna Constantine is actually a character that Neil Gaiman created in the Sandman comic that plays an ancestor of John, but they decided before realizing there might be even a rights issue, they decided to have the same actress play both her ancestor and her descendant. So she plays both characters, both named Joanna Constantine. And the interesting thing about it is, like, in the comics, he wakes up in 1988, he breaks out of his cage in 1988. And I was wondering, I was like, do you move it for the show? Do they start at a different time and end in the 2020s? And what they did is, instead, no, they started in the exact same time as the comic, but they just he broke out now in 2022.
Yeah,
so he's just
cooking.
They just tacked on, another 30 years, and then figured out how to, like, explain why some of these characters would still be alive at that point. But what Lindsay and I rationalized was, why couldn't, if John Constantine was the character that he would have met in the 80s, why couldn't Joanna be his daughter? Because the timeline would add up, right? Like, it would still make sense. And she seems to just carry on all the traditions and mannerisms of her dad. So I'm fine with that, and he did find out later there would have been rights issues. I do love Matt Ryan. Every time he's ever played John Constantine, he's amazing, but it's okay. But outside of that, I can tell you right away, we're not going to see Batman. We're not going to see Martian Manhunter. We're not going to see the Justice League. It's not going to happen. But the reason he did those back then was because he needed to onboard a fan base, right? He needed to bring people on to say, what is this Sandman thing? Oh, Martian Manhunter's in it? I'll check it out. You know what I mean? And the difference is, now everybody knows that Sandman is a thing. He doesn't need those anymore, right? So he doesn't need to play with those toys. So now he can tell a cleaner story, because honestly, they kind of jumble it up a little bit in weird ways. Yeah. What was that?
I think I was telling you earlier, Dennis, like, honestly, that first book is one of my less favorites as you're progressing through the story, because of that jumbledness. I think really the appeal to me of the Sandman story was more around the character-driven aspect, and also, like, the mythical aspect, like bringing in gods.
Exactly. And
mythology, how would these things be in real life? But ultimately, like, it's really just a story about, if someone who's really, really focused on, like, work to the point of not caring about anything else, having nothing else to his personality, not caring about his family, love, whatever. If someone like that experiences a trauma that makes him rethink his life and what the purpose of life is, how does he move through that? And I think that's the point of Sandman. And so all those little details kind of really become extra and unnecessary. So I'll never be upset about those details being removed, as long as they understand the feeling of what that series means.
Yeah, I just wanted Ricky to understand that, like, it's a great story that didn't need those elements in it, and so don't be mad if you don't get those elements in it. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no Batman.
With that said, what was that?
I'll say some amazing dong hiding in this first episode. I was shocked.
Well, I'm not sure that he has a dong.
I don't know. They hid it so well. They hid that area so well.
I'm not sure that he needs a dong.
That man does a full
squat. He has one.
Full squat in front of the camera.
Let's be clear. You are not the god of dreams without a dong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a dong. I mean, he's had girlfriends.
The best dog
he's
you
had
could ever
lovers.
possibly dream of. Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah, Morpheus is packing. Trust me.
Yeah. It's just even in the comics, it's always like a dark void down there.
Mhm.
But he allows you to see what you want or what
Yeah,
he
it's
wants you
whatever
to
dong
see.
you
So he
want.
just doesn't want you to see the dong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to see the dong. You don't need to see it.
Ricky, you didn't see the dog? You must not didn't want
yeah.
to. You didn't want to see.
Yes,
it.
I gotta try. I gotta keep watching.
But yeah, with that said, like I think what I got from this was so beautiful because it was so weird and because like they everything is on the table, right? Like so when Ricky says, fantasy is not usually his thing, like I feel like that's that statement in itself is so like it's you're gatekeeping yourself, man, because like what is fantasy, like
Well, he
if
liked
not
it. Come on.
if not
He said he liked it.
no, but I'm saying what is
Go for
fantasy
it.
if not believing the impossible can happen, right? And so like what you'll see throughout the first 4 episodes of this show is everything is on the table, right? Like first is just the gods of death and dreams is established in the first episode. Second episode, oh yeah, by the way, demons, yeah, that's all there too. That's everything, all the supernatural shit that exists too. Third,
I will say
thing,
the first 10 minutes of the show was very CW-y. I think that's what I got from it. It's a lot.
I'm just curious, when was the last time you watched anything on the CW?
Probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, okay. I don't really.
But that went away. But you're asking me, like, you just get a sense. Sometimes, you're eating a sandwich and you don't like that particular thing. You just kind of avoid all the things that were in that sandwich for a while. So mine was 10 years.
I think the thing about this show is that it's sort of like that problem that you have when you're like Superman, right? When you say Superman is so powerful, like what does he fight, right? And you have to understand that the stakes here are incredibly high because we're talking about incarnations, human manifestations of aspects of reality, right? Those are the stakes. They don't get higher. They don't get higher than
everybody dreams, everybody dies, everybody has desire.
Yeah.
Everybody has
Travis,
destiny.
do you have a favorite endless or like an endless you're really excited to see, which might be 2 different things?
I know he does, and that's why he got to
them.
episode 6.
I saw both of them. And if I had a number 3, it would be Chained to a Book.
Oh, all right. So Dream, Death, and Destiny, huh?
Yeah,
I really like Delirium actually. So I
don't
know
I don't know. I don't know when that's going to show up, but it's going to be interesting to see all of them. Right?
Yeah, she's going to be.
But I thought after episode 6, like I was convinced they got the right death.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like, she's perfect.
She was amazing. What was your take on the Corinthian? So just to be clear, he's a character that I have not met yet in the reading. So they bumped him up to be the villain of the season, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? I'm okay with them adding it for them. It's a little weird, but for the most part, I'm cool with it. As far as like a casting choice, he's like exact. Like he looks, sounds, acts exactly like I would expect him to. I'm still waiting for the eyes to talk. I want to hear what the eyes sound like because they get
Lindsay,
jagged, wordy bubbles. But
that's exactly it, right? Like honestly,
talk.
Have you seen his eyes yet, Ricky?
Yeah, he took off his sunglasses episode 1.
Okay, and you saw he has mouths for eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
Or like, when's he gonna eat some eyeballs, man? Come on.
I mean,
I think we saw him finish eating some, like, right?
Yeah.
I know, but we haven't, like,
What's his? Yeah, give me the two sentence summary of that dude.
I don't know if I want to spoil it because.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he brush those little teeth?
I've never
he
seen him brush
them?
the little
Does he
teeth,
floss
but he
them?
is like a dream. He's not human.
Okay.
So
Okay. No plaque.
I think he just doesn't have plaque.
Yeah.
I actually found him kind of satisfying in certain ways because he explains things that would have normally been like a little bit of a reach, you know, like it's like I like how he shows up to explain to Burgess, oh, just so you know, what you captured, that's the embodiment of dreams. He's the king of the Lord of Dreams and Nightmares.
Shows up and dips out.
Yeah, and he's like, please keep him safe and never let him out so I can go do what I want to do. And then he's out, right? And I really like that because it's like, yeah, if you just cast this crazy spell that you told all your friends was going to capture death, and then you can thoroughly fucked it up to the point where you did not capture death, you need to at least look like you know what you did, right? And so I like that he had this other supernatural being show up to his door and just explain it to him. Because in the book, he's like, I didn't catch death. Let's go consult the books. Oh, I caught dream. And I'm like, that was
less
weird,
fun,
you know?
for a TV show.
It was less fun. Yeah.
I do worry a little bit about them making him more sympathetic. Because he is definitely not at all sympathetic. The comic book. And I'm just worrying about that from the perspective of, like, you know, people who adopt like Rorschach or like the Punisher as like their banner person. So I hope that doesn't happen in this case. I'm also really curious. There's like a big scene with the Corinthian coming up in one of the volumes pretty soon. I'm wondering how they're going to interpret that if they are trying to make him sympathetic. Because his motivation in this case is self-preservation, whereas that's not his motivation at all in the comics. So that is a pretty big change from his from him. I'm kind of interested to see what they do.
And then I guess the other one I had to ask is because they added another character earlier than he appears in the story. And I know Ricky hasn't seen him yet, but Matthew. How do you guys feel about that? Like, because I had to learn it as I was watching it, you know. But Patton Oswalt as Matthew.
You hear him.
Perfect.
Like, I think he works.
He is so in the pocket. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, Patton's always awesome, right? Let's face it, right? He's always awesome. But just as levity, sort of having, you know, the audience's back to some degree, you know, being able to point out like, hey, like, this is insane, by the way, right?
Yeah. It really is. It's his function, and I like his function because, like, I think he. I was telling Lindsay earlier today. He kind of reminds me of Karen in Spider-Man Homecoming, where it's way less weird if you give Peter Parker somebody to talk to, so that the exposition feels a little bit more natural. Because normally in a comic, it would just be Peter Parker narrating all of his inner thoughts and stuff, and that's exactly what Sandman does for every time it's just him by himself. It's just tons of narration, and so I really like that Matthew was there to bounce the ideas off so that the audience can just naturally understand what's happening. It was cool, but I was still weirded. I was still like, okay, I did not expect the Patton Oswalt in this, and I think I'm okay with that. But he is your everyman, right? Every man turned into a crow, I suppose. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting and cool opportunity for Patton to show like off the acting chops a bit, because Matthew does get some pretty intense emotional scenes. So I think that could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said,
like not yet, but like later.
Yeah.
Travis is gonna gush all night long.
I just, like I said, it's nice to see something that you really treasure get executed in a way that you don't think takes away from your enjoyment of the medium historically, but also makes you like, man, like I didn't expect you to go there, but I'm glad you did. You know, like that makes even more sense. It's not, you know, it's funny because when you make something, right, and you give it like a few decades to steep, right, like there's nothing like being able to revisit what you did and be able to be there to put a finer point on it and say, like, this is what I really fucking meant
And
here.
the pedigree of people that are helping Neil Gaiman get this show made, it's David S. Goyer and Alan Heinberg.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, David S. Goyer is suspect on occasion, but if you put him with good, talented people, he
Yeah.
produces amazing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and Alan Heinberg has both comic background and TV production background. So, like, that's pretty amazing. That's like a dream team of people helping him get this thing made the way it should be made. But I do know we could talk about this more like in the soapbox if you want, but we have gone over significantly. And I do want to give Ricky a fighting chance. Like, I want you guys to like, and remember, he's okay with spoilers. I don't know that I will mind at this point, because I mean, by the way, I had to spoil stuff for that trivia. You know what I mean? I had to look up who the hell Daniel Hall was and Hector Hall and all these other people.
Yeah, that's a big spoiler.
I know. I'm sorry. I did that for your entertainment purposes.
I make this face.
Yeah. But what if each of you could, like, in one sentence, tease something that Ricky will probably see this season that will get him excited to finish watching it? Go. I would let Travis go first.
How do you fight Satan in their own backyard?
All right. Holy water, maybe? That seems like step one.
Oh, man.
And when I tell you that was some dope ass storytelling.
Like, I loved reading it. I loved it. When I read it yesterday, I was like, oh shit, how are they going to do this in the show? Yeah.
How are you reading this? Is it on, do you have DC whatever?
It's actually free on DC
Is
Infinite.
It?
The first volume, they put it up free. You don't even need to pay for a subscription. You just go on there, search the Sandman, and the first 8 issues are available right now.
All right.
But then Lindsay owns like almost all the other ones here. Like, I think she's lent some out. So I'm reading the second volume as
I'm missing a bunch of them actually.
As an actual physical thing.
How many volumes are there?
10.
10
volumes.
Something like that.
And it looks like, yeah, there's omnibus.
Oh, you got the omnibus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Does it does the episodes follow the like each issue?
So the first volume of the comic is 8 issues, like I said. The first 6 episodes wrap up all 8 issues.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm guessing the next 5 episodes are volume 2. Actually, I should scratch that. The first 5.5 episodes are volume 1. I was quite shocked on episode 6 when it got to the part where I had stopped reading, and then there was another half hour of the episode, and I was like, well, now we're in uncharted territory. What is this? I love it. And so like I kind of told Lindsay, I'm kind of tempted to stop reading it.
Yeah, I think you should just stop. Yeah.
And just see, because I loved the last 30 minutes of episode 6 so much because I didn't know what the hell was going on because I hadn't read it. Like, I will say that was the weirdest thing about reading it. It was like I read it in the last 2 days, and then as I watched it all day today, I could literally say out loud the exact thing that they were going to say. And then I was so satisfied that they said it exactly. Like, that is how word for word this show is.
I'm excited for, I was at the Comic-Con panel for this, and they showed the park scene on the bench. And not having any context of what that was, when they played that whole scene, people lost their shit. So
like one of the most pivotal scenes in like the whole series.
It's an excellent issue of the story. It's the final issue of Volume 1, so you will get to read it if you choose to read it on DC Infinite. But it is only one half of the episode 6.
One more thing. So if this current season is any indication of like where they're gonna of the quality level and how faithful they're going to be, whatever you see this season, you ain't seen shit yet.
Yeah, no, make no mistake. When I say I'm not gonna read it, I mean I'm gonna stop reading it until I finish watching the rest of the season, and then I will just read it all. And then
but what I'm saying is, it's just from a storytelling standpoint. You have not seen shit yet.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a big WB in front of that episode. I'm just saying.
But there's also a Netflix in front of it, and I believe that Netflix is footing the bill, and that makes me feel very safe about it. I've heard nothing about Sweet Tooth being canceled either, and that's also on Netflix. So I think Papa Netflix has got stuff worked out with WB. But before we go, Lindsay, what's your one thing to sell Ricky on this?
Serial killer convention.
Oh,
amen.
and like the best way for me to prep you, Ricky, on this is it's kind of like American Horror Stories, or like where every episode is a kind of very different type of horror story almost. I wouldn't always call them horror, but there are horror elements, and so each episode is almost its own thing, but Dream is the continuing thread through the whole story. You know what I mean? Like there is a continuous story happening, but each story is very different than the one you watched before it and the one after it. You know what I mean?
Does that get way more disconnected?
Yeah.
So Neil Gaiman won an award for Horror Writers Association for Sandman. If you ever want to read something really intensely like entertaining, read Harlan Ellison's foreword to Sandman, talking about Neil Gaiman and when he won and how the other authors were mad, like big mad, right? And he compared it to Mozart and Salier, right? Like how he accepted that award because they were mad because they were like, it's a goddamn comic, and Harlan was like, you goddamn right,
Clive Barker wrote the foreword for the second volume.
Yes.
Yeah, and so like that should kind of tell you it's always legit operating in that horror genre, even
horror / urban fantasy / all things.
So there's always going to be horrific shit. Like the more you go, it's gonna get.
I'm excited.
It's gonna get.
I'm
weird.
sold.
Giant demon eating a guy off a fork.
I saw that. I think that was another thing at Comic-Con they showed. I saw some demon eating. Or
all right.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay,
let's get there.
But probably no Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
Model UN meeting, but with gods.
Yeah.
I think you've already sold him though. You already sold him. You're good. You're good, guys. You're good.
All
right. That said, I think we really, really have to wrap this up. Thank you to Travis and Lindsay. If you guys have anything you want to plug before we go, I think we got something for Lindsay. Do it now.
Oh yeah. I have an art auction coming up. We're auctioning off some shoes for Outreach, which is this really cool organization in San Diego that brings arts education to different schools and kids in San Diego. There's like 100 or something shoes. So check it out. They're amazing. And the auction's closing on Sunday.
Ricky, can you share a picture with them right now or no?
I have a picture of my own shoes. Hold on. But not of everybody's shoes.
And then while they're getting those pictures loaded up, yeah, thank you guys for nerding out with us this week. We'll probably be back. Probably be back next week. Ricky and I are talking about it. But it would, if we do come back next week, it would just be to discuss Harley Quinn and whatever other news comes out. If we choose to skip that one just to save it for a bigger one, the following week we will be talking about Harley Quinn and the premiere of She-Hulk. So either way, we'll keep you posted on what we end up doing. But thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth and to our audience for tuning in. And there's those beautiful shoes. I don't know if you can zoom in on those, Ricky.
Wow.
Oh, there they are. SoCal Soda.
Right
there. There's a ton of amazing ones, lots of different sizes. So if you're a shoe fan, there's Igato work. If you follow Igato's an amazing artist.
Or just go raise the price on the bidding.
Check it out.
Pump up those prices.
What's up?
Go just pump up the bid on everything. Bid on everything.
Bid on it all.
Bid on everything.
Raise the price.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like this. Please go watch Sandman and Harley Quinn. And check us out on Patreon for our after show, The Soapbox, starting moments from now. See you next time on Den Excelsior, true believers. That's it.